All right, team, welcome to the Broker Playbook. I'm Coach Brandon, and today is not a sit in the stands session. This is film room and game plan. In private money brokering, the market is your field, but guidelines are the rule book. And just like every sports season, the league makes changes. If you don't adjust fast, you don't just lose the play, you also lose the deal. And as we all know, 2026 is going to bring a lot of changes, but it's bringing a lot of changes to the broker world. Today, we're going to run through those like a disciplined team. We're going to learn what has changed, and we're going to see how the new logic enforces it. Our guest today is Justin Lundy, our friend from a couple months ago that you met, and he is going to take us through the Cogo Capital 2026 guideline changes and what it means for you as a broker. Now, I want to take you through the different play-by-plays, or different sessions, if you want to call it. So first, we're going to go take these by quarters. First quarter is going to be a deep dive in guideline changes. What's new, what's tighter, and what gets you ruled a no fit. Second quarter is where we go straight into a live walkthrough of the new broker sizers. This is your scorecard and your play caller. You'll see borrower type selections, credit plus leverage, auto logic, and how it lands on a fit versus no fit outcome. Our third quarter, Justin's going to demo the Liquid Logics portal for you, and this is where you're going to start your applications, upload your documents, and follow standardized needs lists so you're not guessing, and so you're not burning more time, because as we all know, your time is your most valuable commodity. Now, this is how you're going to avoid submission delays. And at the fourth quarter, this is all going to be live Q&A, where we are going to finish with closing and next steps, and also how to access the guidelines, the sizers, submissions, resources, support channels, all of it to help you have a successful 2026. Now here's the standard. In this business, speed matters, but clean execution matters more. Brokers who win the season aren't the ones who try harder. They're the ones who run the right plays with the right documentation in the right order. So I want you guys to all lock in right now, grab a pen and a piece of paper, take some notes, and as questions come up, hold them for the Q&A unless it's a quick clarification that keeps the whole room moving forward. So Justin, if you'd join me, let's open your playbook and take us through those 2026 challenges, if you would.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you.
Say.
Now, I will say, just for a couple minutes, because I mentioned you were here a couple months ago, and everybody loved the webinar that we did. But there's a lot of you that don't know you. So could you give us a quick little background on who you are, what you're doing, and why you're here with us?
Absolutely. Thank you again, Brandon. Good evening, everybody. My name is Justin Lundy. I'm the Director of Operations for Cogo Capital and Secured Investment Corp. As Brandon had said, I have been on here before about a couple months ago to talk about DSCR. Today, I'm very excited to be a featured guest on Brandon's Broker Playbook to go through all the 2026 changes for Cogo Capital and just everything we have upcoming that's going to make your brokering business more efficient, more streamlined, and at the end of the day, just faster for you and your clients.
Right. So let's start off with that quarter one, right? Let's go through those guideline changes.
Absolutely. So the first thing I want to let everybody know is that today, everything I'm going to go over is not about making your life harder. It's about adding clarity, speed, and predictability to your business. We're going to basically cover a way to eliminate all the gray areas, remove inconsistencies, and make approvals a lot more reliable. So really what we're looking at is there's clarifications and some structural changes, and we're not doing a whole rewrite. I want to specify that. We didn't do an entire rewrite of our guidelines. We just changed a few different things to make your broker business a little bit easier, again, more streamlined, faster, more efficient, and also just kind of remove a lot of that gray area and add a lot more clarity when it comes to actually evaluating a borrower and knowing who's going to qualify for a loan and who's not. At the end of the day, your time is extremely valuable, and we value your time as your most valuable resource. So again, we want to make sure we can have the proper tools in your pocket so you can be able to identify the right borrower, the right loan at the right time.
So what I'm hearing you say, Justin, is we're not trying to trip anybody up. we're trying to speed the process up for them, right? Is that the ultimate goal I'm hearing?
Absolutely. We're not trying to commit any kind of personal foul. We're trying to be able to help them get into the end zone even quicker.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so jump into the first ones there for me, if you wouldn't. If you don't mind, is I know a lot of these, but I know there's going to be some questions, so I might bring up a few questions every now and then if that's okay.
Okay, please feel free. Yeah, feel free to interrupt at any time. If you have any questions, I can always go over anything at any time. Like Brandon said in the beginning, try and hold as much as you can towards the end of the Q&A, but if something does need to be addressed, please let me know. All right, so the first thing I want to go over is we now have 3 clearly defined borrower types. We have a non-student borrower, a premium student borrower, and a Lee Arnold system student borrower. What does that mean? A non-student borrower is basically anybody who's not enrolled in any Lee Arnold programs, and this is going to be your default borrower for most loans, essentially.
So if I'm bringing a deal for my own broker business that has no background with us, they would fit inside of that.
Exactly. If they have no background with Lee Arnold system, they're going to be a non-student borrower. They're going to be held to some requirements for the guidelines, and we're going to go over that in a little bit in more detail as well.
Awesome.
The second set there is the premium student borrower. The premium student borrower is considered a borrower that is part of a high tier or premium Lee Arnold system program. What that is defined at is somebody who's been a student of Lee Arnold system, master rehabber, master broker, master lien abatement, and SAG 1 and 2. Those are older programs that we're not currently teaching. However, they are grandfathered into that. So in the past, if you receive premium pricing, that 70% loan to value up to 100% loan to cost, where we're going to cover everything at closing, again, you're still a part of that, so no need to fret, no need to worry. That's still grandfathered in. You're still going to get all that same stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's good news, because I actually had a few emails today of people that are finding out about from our loan officers about some of these changes, and they were really worried that they were going to lose some of their benefits that they've had for years.
Yeah.
So for all of you that are having that, don't worry. Justin's got you covered. You're not going to have to miss out on anything of your hard work over the years.
And that's completely understandable. You know, you bring up a good point that you guys worked really hard to go through the education, become a master in the real estate investing field, and we want to be able to cherish you and still also reward you for that time commitment. Perfect. The third structure is a Lee Arnold system student borrower. Now that might sound kind of confusing because we have a premium student borrower, which is somebody who's attended those higher tier programs, again, Lee's Inner Circle, Master Broker, etc. What separates a Lee Arnold system student borrower is they've attended basically a certification class or higher, but not up to that premium level. Now, this is a very important third tier that we're going to go in depth here in a little bit to kind of describe, why it's so important. So why does this matter to everybody? So leverage, credit requirements, and loan size is now going to change based on that borrower type. So you need to be really verifying upfront, is this somebody who has not been a part of the Lee Arnold system before? Do they have Lee Arnold system experience? For those who are master brokers on this session that have the ability to do joint venture loans, so you can bring your premium pricing to students, that's stuff that all needs to be considered.
So this is going to allow you to, and this is from my perspective, these changes are more on the broker side to help them be able to find more qualified people that aren't going to be wasting their time, right?
Exactly, yeah, because kind of like I said in the beginning, your guys' time is extremely valuable. We recognize that. We value you as business partners, and we want you to bring only the best of business to us and also for you to commit your time to. I'd hate to be a Debbie Downer, but there are clients out there that maybe it's not the best use of your time when you're looking at that certain borrower. So this is really, again, helping you define and quickly recognize who is the best one to do business with.
That's awesome. So I'm going to do something I haven't really done, but guys, you guys all know a name that I've thrown out in the past is Mr. Charlie Palmer. Charlie's manning our chat right now, and I want you guys to be able to communicate with him on this. So if you're coming like, hey, yeah, this is going to help me out a lot, and hey, what about this? Make sure you're putting him in there so Charlie can communicate with you and be able to relay some questions to us as they come in. Because I'll tell you right now, if I was in the chat, I'd be like, well, that's great. I don't like this is going to allow me to weed out to take out all the weeds and make my garden look better. I'm definitely going to take that. And I know, unless Charlie's going to shake his head at me, I think he's going to love having that communication with you guys over the next hour. So let's involve him and have that communication, and let us be involved through that way as well.
Great to hear. So what next is new? Loan amounts. Those who are probably aware of our system and some of our previous guidelines, we used to have a maximum loan amount of the FHA cap for the area Again, that can vary all over the country. Here in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, it's about $572,000, whereas over in DC, it's well over $1 million. So again, it completely varies. However, one thing we are changing for non-student borrowers, and I'll get into that in a little bit, non-student borrowers is that we're actually opening the floodgates a little bit more to a $2 million loan cap because we want our brokers to start getting paid. The bigger deals you bring in, the bigger loan amounts you bring in, that's only going to generate more revenue for you and be able to put into your pocket. We've also made a small adjustment to our minimum loan amount for non-student borrowers. Previously, our minimum loan amount was $30,000. We are now bumping that up a little bit to $50,000 for a single unit and then $75,000 for a 2 to 4 unit property. Again, we're really trying to make sure that we're bringing in quality deals that are going to generate solid revenue, not only for the broker, but also for the organization.
Okay. So this is actually great because I know when we had the $30,000 minimum loan amount, properties still had to have the same they had to have a higher value, like $50,000.
Yes.
Is what it was.
Yep.
Is that still the case on these lower ones, like $50,000? They're still going to need at least a value a little bit higher than what we're looking at.
Correct.
Right?
Because it's going to be a $50,000 minimum loan amount, we still need to have an as-is value a little bit higher than the $50K.
Okay.
And it's going to be completely loan by loan, property by property. That's something the loan officer can help you with.
Great.
Perfect. Moving on for students, so Lee Arnold System students, and again, just LES students, we do still have a loan cap of the FHA. So I don't want you to freak out. You're like, hey, why are you opening the floodgates for the non-students? Reason being is because we've provided the education. We want to make sure we can kind of ease you into it. We don't want to jump straight into a massive deal that's completely unmanageable. With that being said, though, if you have experience, one thing we're doing this year is we're really doing a lot of kind of overriding, because if we see a borrower that makes sense, we're okay kind of stepping out of these boundaries a little bit to be able to assist them and get them what they need. So if you're a student, but you have experience in this field and you can take on a 7-figure project, that's something we could still accommodate. A great thing about the students is our minimum stays at $30,000. So you still have a little bit more flexibility there in your loan amount. So that doesn't change at all. And again, really the whole point of this is that we're trying not to receive all these tiny fix and flip deals. We really want to try and up it. For those who are not aware, Cogo Capital has a great goal of by 2030, we want to be a $1 billion lender. So you heard me correct. That's a billion with a B rather than a million. So we're really trying to scale this thing. We're really trying to blow it up a lot higher than where we are right now. And a lot of that requires bringing in those larger loans, those larger loan amounts. And that's what we want our brokers to be going after as well. Because at the end of the day, folks, you're going to get paid more on those deals.
And I love to hear that. Because for me, I hear billion. Well, we all know the reason why we train brokers and the reason why we train our clients is we want people to grow with us, right? So what we're saying is we're going to create the avenue for you to become very, very wealthy by being a broker, as long as you're willing to play ball with us and stick with us.
Absolutely. As long as you're able to find the right clients and the right properties and right deals, there's no reason we can't fund most of them. We're going to get them paid.
Love to hear it.
Absolutely. The next thing I want to touch on are credit score rules. This is where I'm going to kind of go back to those 3-tier structure. I want to reiterate it again for everybody. Non-student borrower, you have no experience with the Lee Arnold system. Premium student, you've taken one of those premium courses, Lee's Inner Circle, Master Rehabber, Master Broker, SAG 1, SAG 2, and one-on-one mentorship. Or you're a Lee Arnold system student borrower where you've taken just a certification, but not as high as those premiums. This is why I want to go over this. So a big focus for Cogo Capital this year is to really expand into the institutional market. If you look at all the big lenders out there in the space, this is what they do. This is how you're able to facilitate these larger loan amounts, is by having those institutional connections. And there are some requirements when it comes to those institutional connections. So the first thing I want to go ahead and say is for non-student borrowers, we have a hard minimum FICO score requirement now of 650. I want to let everybody know that's the mid score, not the low score. So somebody could have a low score of a 630 for, let's say, Equifax. Their Experian could be 680, and their TransUnion, forgetting one, TransUnion could be 650. So you're still falling within that range. And again, this is going to affect pricing only. So if somebody is within 650 or above, you're going to see some pricing adjustments based on that. But that's really the biggest thing, is that we're trying to, really set ourselves up for the institutional market. And that's one thing they look for, are those credit score minimums. And it kind of goes back to you brokers. Sometimes, again, I hate to, be the devil's advocate, but sometimes there's a reason why people don't have the best of credit scores, and you want to be working with the best clients. You want to be working on the best deals.
And I had this thought that just popped in my head is, when you want to play with the big boys, you got to do what the big boys do.
Exactly.
Right? And for all of you brokers, there's a lot of great brokers out there that are turning hundreds of thousands of dollars a month in broker fees. There's no reason why you couldn't become one of those by just leveraging and getting the right people that we can close.
Exactly. And to put it in football terms for you, say Cogo Capital is looking to win the Super Bowl in the next year, next few years, and we're looking to bring on all the big free agents. We're looking for top tier talent, top tier clients, top tier deals, essentially. Perfect. Next category, again, premium student borrowers. The great thing about premium student borrowers is you've made such a huge commitment, both monetary as well as time commitment to our organization and to actually learn real estate investing, learn the fix and flip market, refinances, DSCR, even some commercial. That the great thing is that there is no credit score minimum for those folks. So if you are a premium student and your credit score is below 650, there's no problem at all. You're still going to receive your 100% financing up to a 70% loan to value. Now, the final category is Lee Arnold System students. Now, the thing here is that if they are a Lee Arnold System student borrower, so they have, again, taken a certification class or higher, but not to that premium level, they can also work with us below 650. However, for risk mitigation purposes, we do have a leverage reduction. So they have a 10% loan to value leverage reduction on purchase and rehab, and then a 5% leverage reduction on refinance loans. And then also pricing will be affected as well. The lower you go below 650, that's also going to increase the points and increase the interest rate on the loan. Again, purely for risk mitigation efforts. Perfect. So leverage and rules. So I kind of went over this really quickly. Purchase and rehab for non-student borrowers. We're really trying to bring a lot of people outside of the system into the system. So we're now lending up to 75% of the loan to value for the as-is or the ARV. This is higher than what we've done in the past. Again, 650 minimum credit score, but they can get up to 75%. So we're trying to extend more borrower-friendly terms, having to bring less cash to close at the table, really trying to bring a lot of people outside of our network currently. Go ahead.
Just what you said there, Justin, is and there's a lot of our historic brokers have been on with us for a very long time, and some of the biggest complaints is money down, time to close. Everything that you just covered.
Yep.
Is what I hear is you've listened, Gary's listened, Lee has listened to the complaints, right? A complaint is a gift, and what we've taken that is turning into an advantage for them. And oftentimes we're going with sports analogy, right? If you can find the complaint, you can find the weakness, you can turn it into a strength. So I love that we're doing that. Challenge for you guys is to learn how you can leverage that on your side.
Absolutely. And no, you're 100% correct. We've been listening. We've heard the comments, we've heard the concerns, we've heard everything, from our brokers, from our borrowers, just from everybody involved in the Cogo Capital system. And so much of that is what we poured into these decisions, again, to try and make it more clear, less gray areas, more streamlined, more efficient. Very much, it's either this, not that. Perfect. One thing I wanted to touch on real quick for non-student borrowers, because again, we are really looking at the institutional market to try and help us grow, is we have a 90% loan to cap on those. Currently, some loans have gone beyond the 90% loan to cap. What does that mean? Or loan to cost, excuse me. Loan to cost means basically how much of the loan are we financing. So if you have a loan that's 100% loan to cost, that means we're funding 100% of it. We're funding the purchase, the rehab, the fees, everything. You don't have to bring anything to the table. For non-student borrowers, it's capped at 90%. For premium borrowers, again, this is what you guys already have. You have 100% loan to cost. That's not changing. So what I just talked about, you can get everything funded. You don't have to bring anything to close at the table, or very little, if any. Again, that's still staying the same. You're not losing that because of your huge commitment that you've gave to this organization and for yourselves, investing in yourselves to learn and understand the field. We are rewarding you, or not, I wouldn't say rewarding. I would say we are giving you, basically the opportunity to be able to do that 100% loan to cost. Perfect. So pricing. So we have a very unified pricing matrix now. Gone are the tiers. If you had been on the Cogo Capital website in the past, there was a tier A, a tier B, a tier C. I'm very much a person that's all about consistency and continuity and keeping everything as simple as possible. I'm a very simple person, and I like to keep everything simple both in work and in life. So gone are the tiers now. We have a very unified pricing matrix where our base rate is around 9.49. However, for a very well-qualified borrower, we can now go all the way down to 7.99. So we have rates as low as 7.99 now with a minimum origination of 1.5.
Hopefully you guys I just kind of got chills when he said that, right? There's no lender out there that I know of that'll go that low on a standard loan unless the person is the picture perfect borrower. So I'm I'm excited to see how that's going to help all of the brokers with that.
Absolutely. And I do want to say again, it is for a very well qualified borrower. We're talking a decent credit score above 700, and they're going to have some experience as well. They're going to have to be experienced in the field, pretty close to double digits. We're looking for 8, 9 plus. That's how we can get down to that 7.99. So brokers, if you have any borrowers or clients you're working with that they have experience in this field, they do this for a living, they know what they're doing, Cogo Capital can offer them loans at terms that you said, I don't know many other lenders that do either.
Here's a great thing. What if you don't? That's the question I'd say. If everybody's taking notes, which I told you should, use that as a marketing tool. Use that as a base. Do multiple deals with us, and we will get you qualified for a starting at, was it 7.99?
7.99. Yep.
There's nobody else out there that can offer that, but if you do multiple deals with me, we can prove that relationship. We can get that for you.
Absolutely.
It's a great way. Leverage the best case scenario to get everybody moving, create that long-term relationship.
Most definitely. Couldn't have said it better myself. Some documentation requirements. We've again heard feedback from brokers. We've heard feedback from borrowers. Some documents that we've required in the past can be a little bit difficult to obtain. They can create a little bit of friction. And again, just kind of slows down the loan process at the end of the day. That's what we're after here. We're after speed, efficiency, predictability, keeping it simple. So we have one consolidated list now of documents that's very simple. Of course, there's going to be some outliers that we require depending on the borrower, depending on the deal. So it's not going to be a complete comprehensive list. But real quick, I want to go over what we removed. So we've removed the schedule of real estate owned and sold. This is something that's been a bit of a constraint in the past for borrowers and brokers, that we've had a document that they have to complete, basically saying, hey, I bought this property, I own this property, I lease this property. Or if they didn't have any experience, you guys had to go through and put NA on everything, and I know that was a little frustrating. So we've actually replaced that with now a place in the Liquid Logic's loan portal that we use for our loan servicing system, loan origination system, that now you can go in and complete that information. I'm going to be doing a demo on that here in a little bit. I believe that's our third quarter one, and I'll show everybody what I'm talking about here in a little bit more. So just kind of hang on to that thought. The second one we removed is executive summary. We used to have an executive summary that we required from the borrower. Basically, we told us a little bit, hey, how'd you find this deal? What are you going to do with it? What's your plans? Yada, yada, yada. That's something we've also removed. It's not something that's necessary for a loan package, so we've just pulled it. Another great removal we've made is tax returns. We've heard a lot from borrowers and brokers on tax returns, especially when it used to have to be a signed tax return. People had to go into their TurboTax, go to their CPA, get their previous tax return, print it out, sign it, scan it back in, send it back to Cogo Capital. Just so many steps in the process, again, that are just adding more friction. Those have been completely removed. As well as finally, contractor license and insurance. We do still require a contractor bid on the loan before closing. We want to make sure that the bid completely matches what needs to be done from an actual contractor. However, we don't need their license, we don't need their insurance anymore. That's not something we need to provide. And again, in the past, this has been a constraint. This has added some friction because it's been sometimes a little bit difficult for a contractor to be like, oh, okay, now I got to go get my insurance quote or insurance information. I have to go pull my license. Again, just trying to simplify the process, keep things moving steadily.
That has been one of the biggest frustrations I've heard brokers say over the years, is just that alone. So here lies the question. I think I know the answer, but I'm still going to get it from you anyway. So a lot of real estate investors will use a newer contractor to do their work because the cost to do the work is also expensive.
Absolutely.
So a new or inexperienced contractor that they're just starting out, they can use those now.
Absolutely. As long as it's a contractor, as long as we have a contractor bid that shows, itemized statement of like what all the work is to be done with pricing, and we are going to review the bid. I will let you know. So if the pricing is way far off, we are going to probably reach out and we're going to want an updated bid. But when it comes to license and insurance, we no longer require that.
Great to hear.
Perfect. Another one I want to touch on real quick is rural definition. So in the past, Cogo Capital, we do work with rural properties. We had a very subjective and almost kind of vague definition of what considered a rural property. Just to let everybody know, it used to be 20 miles within a municipality. Again, what is considered a municipality? Say, for those who are not aware, we live up in North Idaho. We have a small town north of us called Athol, Idaho, about 1,000 people in it. Is that a municipality? I don't know. So we've really, again, kind of cleaned that up. Wanted to make sure we have a very clear definition of what's rural and what's not. So we have two things on there. The first one is population density. We're looking at 100 people or less per square mile in the town or township or city. That, again, that will be considered rural. And then the other thing is if the appraisal comes back as rural, that's going to automatically consider it rural as well, and it's not going to qualify for Cogo Capital.
So I love that because then it's a population and not necessarily proximity, because there's a lot of, especially in the Midwest, a lot of small towns where they're 20, 30,000 people that we previously couldn't do because of distance.
Absolutely.
Right. And now that opens those up.
Absolutely. Again, it's much easier for a broker. You guys can actually look at a property. If you're looking at a property in a town that maybe you're not familiar with, you Google it and you're like, hey, this looks kind of far out here. Instead of trying to guess, like, well, 20 miles from a municipality, I see it's next to this, maybe that will count. Now you can just do a simple Google search of, hey, what's the population density of this town? It's going to tell you. If it's less than 100, that's considered rural. You can move on. Again, it's all about valuing your time and making sure your time is used to the best.
Well, man, that makes me so happy. I can't tell you how much that's going to help our brokers out by making that definition fit.
Absolutely. All right. So I was able to go over a lot of things today. Again, I do want to clarify that for the premium students, nothing that you experience is going to be unchanged at all. For those that qualify for premium, basically you're not going to notice any difference. You're going to benefit from the reduced documentation requirements, but you're not going to have any credit score minimums. You're not going to have any pricing changes. Well, actually, one thing I do want to mention real quick that I actually didn't put on my notes that it just popped in my head. So I actually do have a great benefit for the premium students. Before in the past, as a premium student, you used to get a 0.5% interest rate bump to your pricing because we were giving you that 100% loan to cost. Some of you may or may not have been aware of that. We've removed that now. So now you're no longer getting a 0.5% interest rate bump just because you're being a premium student. You're still going to receive the same standard pricing, but without that pricing bump. And you're still going to get 100% loan to cost. At the end of the day, we're saving you money, putting more money back in your pockets, and making the loan easier to obtain.
By helping other people make money, you make more yourself, right?
Exactly. Absolutely. So the biggest thing at the end of the day is just the borrower type drives everything, whether they're non-student, premium, or a Lee Arnold system student. One thing I encourage is, I know you have all been through the Lee Arnold system, and I know I have as well, and it's a great system. It's a great way for people to get into this field and get into this industry. If you're talking to a borrower that has less than a 650 mid-score credit score, talk to them a little bit about the Lee Arnold system. Kind of introduce them, get them in touch with the Lee Arnold system here internally in Coeur d'Alene at Cogo Nation. Because again, if they take one of those certification courses, they can now work with you and they can get the loan less than 650 credit.
So there is a way.
There is.
And it's always a way that's going to benefit the broker and the borrower.
Absolutely. And the reason behind that decision, which I do want to touch on real quick, is that if they go through the Lee Arnold system, we know they receive, great education. We know they're going to be confident in what they're doing, because that's what we teach here. We teach people how to be confident in what they're doing. We teach people how to find great deals, how to manage great deals, and not find themselves underwater. So because if your borrower makes that commitment, we will work with them no matter the credit score.
Well, that just makes things so much more simple. Our brokers have been begging for simplicity for the longest time. It's also helps them know exactly what they can do with a client that may not know how to find a good deal.
Absolutely.
I get those all the time. I have a client that brings me deal after deal after deal every single week. They're just not good deals. So now I can give them the benefit, like, hey, I can get you financed, but I can also get you education at the same time to make sure that we can actually move this forward.
Absolutely. It's a win-win. And once they get the education, they can continue to come back to Cogo Capital. It's not like a one-time thing where you have to take the course again. You take it one time, you get educated, you can now work with Cogo Capital every single time, regardless of your credit score.
Great. So is that all the changes, or do we have more?
No, that's everything I have for guideline changes. I do want to let everybody know that if you would like to see the guidelines yourself, we have them public on the Cogo Capital website. You can go to cogocapital.com/UW guidelines, and you can view the guidelines right from there. It's a pretty hefty document, so I'll tell you, if you want some light reading material before bedtime, feel free to hop on there.
Something will probably put you to sleep.
Absolutely.
Charlie, would you mind putting that in the chat for everybody? Awesome. I appreciate you, sir. All right, so second quarter. I know we just, the first quarter always seems like it goes by so slow, and the second quarter speeds up, third quarter accordingly. So second quarter, we said the sizers. Now, there's probably a few people I was like, what is a sizer? What do we mean by that?
Absolutely. So a loan sizer, first off, is basically where you go through and you input borrower's information, the property information, and it's going to spit out basically, a loan amount, a term sheet, interest rate, origination points. It's basically going to give you everything that you're basically getting from a loan officer. Anytime you call a lender and you're looking at, you have your property information, your deal information, and you're conveying that to them, they're inputting it into their loan sizer, And that's how they come back to you with saying, hey, Mr. Broker, we can lend this much to your client at this interest rate for this much origination. They're going to have to bring this much to close. That's what they're doing. They're sizing the loan on the back end.
So, and for the more simple-minded people, it's a quote generator.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's a term sheet generator is what I like to call it as well.
Great. So I believe that you wanted to show us how these work, right?
Absolutely. So for those who are not aware, we have a great new system that we're able to develop because we want to put more tools in our brokers' pockets. We want to be able to eliminate having to call into a loan officer, wait for a term sheet, get back to your client, because in this industry, speed is key. Whoever can provide a term sheet first is usually going to win that business or has a high likelihood of winning that business. Because it's like, hey, I already have a term sheet for Cogo Capital for you in 30 seconds. What do you think? So today, I'm going to go ahead and demo the broker sizers for everybody. We have two sizers. We have a purchase and rehab sizer and a refinance sizer. I'm going to go ahead and go over where you're going to find these sizers on the Cogo Nation member website. And I'm also going to run through just a quick test loan for everybody so they can see how it works and literally how quickly it is.
Great, let's do it.
All right.
So everybody will be able to see his screen here in just a second if you don't already. And we're going to be starting off at the Cogo Nation website.
Perfect. So to begin, I'm on cogonation.com, which is where you go to access the member portal. The member portal, as a Lee Arnold Systems student member, you can go in there and find all of your courses. You can rewatch any of the courses, access any of the course materials, anything like that. So to find this, I'm going to go ahead and go into member login here in the top right-hand corner and log into my member dashboard. Go ahead and enter in my password here. I got it all saved in, super nifty. You can log in 30 seconds. Wait for this to load. Perfect. So once I am into my Cogo dashboard here, I'm going to click on Cogo Nation Academy and the membership site. So it's going to take me directly into the site. I'm going to click on the little hamburger button here on the far left. And I'm going to go down to the broker vertical. And then this is where all the different broker courses are going to be. So you have Broker Academy, you have Broker Certification. One thing I do want to say is that these sizers are for anybody that's taken broker certification or above, so BCP all the way up to Master Broker and even recently accelerated Master Broker. I'm going to go ahead and go into my Master Broker certification here on this tile. Once this tile loads, the first tab that's going to be is Course, and the second tab is going to be Materials. Did you have something, Neva?
I was just going to say, You're going into the Master Broker, but these also exist just in the standard resources section as well.
Absolutely.
Just for everybody.
Absolutely. They also exist in the standard resource section. You're 100% correct. But the way how I like to access it is going directly into my broker vertical. Click on Materials here. You scroll down, and you're going to find two term sheet generators. These are the loan sizers. You said it best yourself. A simple way to put it is a quote generator, and that's why I named it that, term sheet generator, because loan sizer can maybe be a little bit confusing, whereas this tells you what it's going to do. It's going to generate a term sheet for you.
Perfect.
So we're going to go ahead and jump into the purchase and rehab here one. So if I go ahead and click on that, it's going to open a brand new web page and a whole new system that we've built, again, exclusively for Cogo Capital brokers. Nobody has access to this tool outside of those that have back office access in the Cogo Nation membership website and have been a part of the Lee Arnold system. And again, I've taken broker certification or above. So walking through the tool here, we have two modes. We have an email mode and a live call mode. You're probably wondering, what is this email mode? This email mode is a really cool template that we were able to build out that you can put some of the data entry on your clients. Say you have a bunch of clients requesting a term sheet for you and maybe you don't have times to give them a call. You can copy and paste this template, go ahead and put it in an email, send it to them. They will go through and complete it. And then once they complete every single line here, all you have to do is click Generate Term Sheet, and it's going to generate a term sheet right off of that.
So they don't have to manually enter things in. They can just copy, paste, and it does it.
Absolutely. All you have to do is copy, paste, hit Generate, boom, you're done. So you can create a term sheet literally in 3 seconds once you have a completed template.
For all of you guys that have Dealio Pro, and you have a button on there to start a loan, you might be able to take all of these, have it create an email for you, and then you just put it in here and send it back, which would speed up the process a lot. And I'm just kind of thinking out loud right now about all the amazing things that you can do with this. But there is no other lender, and I'm connected with a lot of lenders outside of Cogo that does something like that. So that is for me, that's a game changer, because I get a lot of quotes over email that I can just make sure that they're doing this now.
Exactly. And you said it best yourself. You don't know any other lenders that are doing this. And I know you're very well connected in the space. And That's exactly what we were after. What can we do to set Cogo Capital apart? How can we support our brokers in a way that no other lender does? And this is just the first of many tools that I'm sure we'll be able to come up and, again, just try and help you guys in your journey and help you in your broker business. So I'm gonna go ahead and move over to the live call mode because we're gonna go ahead and do a loan live here real quick so you can see how simple this is. So you're gonna wanna start here on the top left and work your way down. It's important to try not to skip any boxes because it's not gonna give you the most accurate information. To get the most accurate quote possible, make sure you're completing as much as possible if it applies. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a purchase and rehab. I'm gonna go ahead and throw down my name here as the applicant. You wanna be my broker, Brandon?
Let's go for it.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and throw Mr. Brandon Jolly as my broker.
I'm going to tell you, I want a 3% broker fee.
You want 3%? I'll put you down for 3%. Sounds good. I'm going to go ahead and enter in the property address. What's your estimated credit score, Brandon? If you don't mind just sharing it, say.
720.
720? All right. We're going to go ahead and go with 720 for this borrower. We're just going to do a simple single-family home. Property type is single-family residential. Number of units, we're going to do 1. Purchase price, we're going to do that. We're buying a $150,000 home. And we're going to do an as-is value of $150,000. Sometimes the as-is value may not always equal the purchase price. In this example, I'm just putting it as the purchase price. Estimated rehab, we're going to go ahead and put $50,000 on that. Our after repair value, we're going to say $300,000. So this is a pretty solid deal. Number of completed projects, so this is based on experience. Again, experience really dictates pricing. Credit score and experience are the biggest dictators of pricing. So this is the verifiable number of completed projects in the last 24 months. What does verifiable mean? It means that if we put down experience, once this loan gets into underwriting, we're going to need to verify that experience through HUDs and leases. They either need to have the property leased out or they need to have a HUD showing that they are the seller of the property when they purchased it, fixed and flipped it, whatever they may have done. I'm going to go ahead and put 2 there. Requested closing date. There's a couple options. You can either type directly or you can go ahead and hit the little drop down here. I recommend putting it out at least 30 days. Cogo Capital, we're really pushing for a 21 to 30 day closing time, and that's kind of where we're seeing ourselves right now. But I go ahead and just put it out for 30 days. I'll put it for the next Monday since the 7th is a Saturday. Any earnest money deposits? I'll say that I put down $2,000 in earnest money on this property. Credit section here, this is for any seller credits or anything like that. Maybe that could be coming from the seller. Assignment fee, if there's an assignment fee on the property, if you're working with a wholesaler and they're charging you an assignment fee, you would enter that there. Broker points, Brandon wanted to charge me 3 points. So requested loan amount, I'm gonna go ahead and put the combination of the purchase price and the rehab, so we're talking 200. And then finally, what's the FHA cap for the area? I'm gonna go ahead and just put it down as 572, which we're gonna be well under that. So I'm gonna go ahead and click generate term sheet. It's as simple as that. And now we have an entire term sheet generated right here that can show the borrower and the deal information, the property information, the proposed loan summary. It was requesting 200, but we're proposing 184,500. We have our interest rate, our origination points, our as-is value, our after repair value or ARV, our repair budget, rehab budget, our estimated monthly payment, 12 months of total interest, so 12 months of monthly payments since it's a 12-month loan. I do want to say again, for those that may not be aware, Cogo Capital does not have any prepayment penalties. So even though it's a 12-month loan, if you finish the project in 3 months and pay us off, no problems at all. You have some of your leverage metrics here. It will tell you what your LTV is for the as-is, what it is for the ARV, and what it is for your loan to cost, which again, how much of this loan are we funding? Because I have this currently set up as a non-student, we're capped at that 90%. We have a borrower profile here showing their credit score, number of projects completed, whether or not if they're a premium student or an exception county. We're going to get into that in a quick second. Pricing and credits, we have a $2,000 earnest money deposit that's factoring into our cash to close. And then we also have our credits here if there was a seller broker credit, and then assignment fee if there was one. This is something really neat as well, is you can also interact with it. If you click on pricing breakdown here, you can get an idea of why the pricing is what it is. So I'm at a 10.24%, and it's like, why? Well, we can see we have a credit score adjustment as well as an experience adjustment, which ends us back up at that 10.24%. Moving down to the fees and cash to close summary, you can see purchase price, just reiteration of the assignment fee, the rehab bid, a 10% contingency of the rehab bid, the broker fee, which Brandon's charging his 3 points. And then you can see the fees right here on the right-hand side. And then right here is the information that we're all most concerned with. So total project cost, loan amount of $184,500. Your estimated cash to close would be basically $32,000. So reserves, we're going to need to see $4,723, which is 3 months of monthly payments. So total funds to qualify, we're going to want to see basically the cash to close plus the reserve requirements.
Perfect. So I love this because it also, as everybody's looking at your screen, this is so much of an easier term sheet to read in our previous ones.
Absolutely.
The previous ones had different things and you didn't know why one was here and where was there. It's all very clearly laid out.
Absolutely.
And it makes a broker feel a lot more confident in being able to present these things to their clients.
Most definitely, and that's the goal, is just for a quick, easy flow where you can just go from top to bottom and you get all the information you need right in one go. If you're just looking for, hey, how much do I need to bring? You just look right at the bottom and you're going to have all the most important information there. As you can see, we have a couple toggles down here that I want to run through. So if they're a premium student, so that means they're going to get that 70% loan to value up to 100% loan to cost. All you do is click that toggle, hit generate again, and it's going to regenerate. So now, we can actually ask more money on this. So I put 200 down as a requested loan amount and saying, hey, we can give you 200. But if we do 250, we're going to wrap everything into this. Okay, so now we're doing 70% loan to value, and we're able to get to 95% loan to cost. So for those who were not paying attention last time, before I clicked that toggle, it was $32,000 cash to close. Now we're at $8,000 cash to close. And then, of course, there could even be, depending on the deal type, depending on the property, it can be 0 cash to close. Sometimes we can even give a little bit of money back to the borrower. And we can go as far as even covering all the third-party fees, title, taxes, insurance, once we get to underwriting, if there's room in the loan. The next toggle over is our local loan program. This is only for loans in Kootenai County and Spokane County. I don't think that's going to apply to a large portion of everybody. However, what that offers is 75% loan to value plus 100% loan to cost. It's very, very similar to what we do for premium students. Reason being is that these are right in our backyard. So we're able to take on a project, kind of, increase our risk a little bit more on it because if, something went under, it's right here for us to easily finish up. Next up is Exception County. So Exception County, what these are counties where you are restricted to 50% loan to value. The reason why is these are just generally riskier counties for lenders to lend in. Usually higher foreclosure rates, anything like that. You can actually see this list right here by clicking View Exception Counties, and you can see that list of counties. So you can see if your property is in Cook County, Illinois, Cuyahoga County, Ohio, Baltimore, Philly, St. Louis, or Wayne County, Michigan. If that's the case, you click the toggle, click Generate. We're capped at 50% now, and we can see the cash to close did increase. Up next is the LAS credit exception. What this is for is if somebody has less than a 650 credit, the first thing you're going to get met with is that. Estimated credit score below 650 is not eligible unless premium student or LAS student is checked. So what we want to do is hit OK first. Then we want to select LAS student, hit generate, and it's going to work. However, we're going to get that leverage cap. So now we're going to be capped at 65% of the loan to value. We were already at 61%, so we didn't really see much of a difference in this example. And then finally, what we can do, let me go ahead and bump this back up so we can turn off that toggle. And then gap loans. As you all know, we offer gap loans, and it's something that you can discuss directly with your client. So gap loans, we lend up to 65% of the combined loan to value. So that means both loans have to equal 65%. So you're seeing we're at 61.5% here. So we have a little bit of room for a gap loan. So pay attention to the cash to close. So we're currently at 32,00194. If we put a gap loan on this, hit generate, it's going to go ahead and say, hey, based on the loan to value, we can get you up another $10,500. That will put us at 65% combined, and it's going to reduce that cash to close now down to 21. And then you can see all of the gap to loan information there.
So all of the questions that our brokers have had, can we do this? Can we do that? Is Cogo can do this? Can Cogo do that? All of it's built right into here. So now that they know exactly what can happen, there's no need to, well, while we do want to talk with you on the phone, I'll tell you that right now, we do want to talk with you. There's no need to call in a loan officer and ask those questions, because if you can't do it off of these sizers, these quote generators, then it probably should be a deal you should be pursuing.
Yeah, no, you absolutely nailed it. If it's something that does not fit the sizer, then it's something that Cogo Capital can't work with. All of our new guidelines have been completely updated into the logic of this sizer. It's also the same logic we're using internally. So whatever you're seeing produced here is also going to be produced internally. And again, the whole purpose behind this tool in this industry, speed is key. Whoever can get out a term sheet first, most of the time wins. And you can have a Cogo Capital term sheet to your borrower in 30 seconds.
Yeah, that makes me so happy. And I know there's probably a few at home that are celebrating that they can get them that quick.
Absolutely.
All right, so sizers, I'm guessing there might be questions. If you have put them in the chat, Charlie and I will try to get through them, but we got to get to quarter three. We're coming towards the end of the game here. We're running out of time. So quarter three, we got Liquid Logic. That's the broker portal, right? So take us through that.
Absolutely. So I just want to do a quick walkthrough for everybody of the broker portal and Liquid Logics, because it's going to be a great asset to you when you're working with your clients, because we have a lot of great features in there that not a lot of brokers are taking advantage of. And I want to go ahead and, just really make everybody aware of what you're really missing out on that can only speed up your loan process. So from the login page, I'm going to go ahead and jump into broker. I'm going to log in.
Now, while he's logging in, I'm going to let you guys know there's going to be a few of you that are probably trying to follow along, and that's great. But you may not have access, and that is kind of by design, because your first loan, we really want to be a little more hands-on and getting things set up, making sure it's good. But after you get that first loan going, first loan submitted, you can do everything that Justin's doing right here.
Absolutely. No, that's a great point. Yes, until you start a loan with Cogo Capital, you will not have access to this portal. Once you start your first loan, we send you a portal invite. You set up your access. You can now access everything I'm going to show you. So I'm going to go ahead and look at a loan here that I recently created for this. So I'm going to go ahead and click into this loan. And the first thing you're going to see is it's going to say, hey, everything you need to do. You need to complete your application. We need to start getting some docs uploaded. So the first thing we want to do is we want to look at full app. And we want to make sure this is all being completed. There we go. We want to make sure that your borrower completes the full application. This is a requirement now, as we want to make sure the entire application is completed prior to submission to underwriting. Now, one thing I mentioned a little bit earlier during the guidelines, where we eliminated the schedule of real estate owned and sold. We've replaced that with a borrower experience tab down here. You can put in how many properties they've fixed up. You click on experience details, and you can fill out this information right here with your borrower, basically acting as a schedule of real estate owned and sold, but it's not a separate documentation you have to actually go and do. And again, what's great about this, though, is that if they don't have any experience, you literally do nothing. You don't have to put NA, you don't have to do anything like that. Going back here real quick, we also have docs requested. You can click right here and you can start uploading any documents. As the loan starts to progress through the process, more documents will become available as we get into processing and then headed into underwriting. So definitely, please work with your borrowers and just keep uploading documents into this portal. As you get their driver's license, upload it. As you get their bank statements, upload it. The quicker we can get files uploaded, the quicker we can close the loan.
And as a big piece of advice here, as you get them, put them in. I know a lot of brokers want to compile all of the files together and do it all at once. I would rather see them coming in one at a time, because your processor, your loan officer can approve them as they're coming in, which does speed up the process. Instead of having to go through 20 documents all at once, they can do it here, there as it goes, which will only speed up the process for you.
No, absolutely, because that's something we see a lot, where once we get all the documents, we go through them, hey, we need this fixed, we need this amended. Now you have to go back and redo all of it, versus if you submit the entity docs before you have the bank statements or maybe a driver's license, let's say. It may not happen in that order exactly, but we can already review the file and be like, hey, you're missing this, we need the borrower to amend this. So you can go back to the borrower while they're still collecting documents. So that way they're already in that document collecting phase. They're like, oh yeah, I'll take care of that while I'm taking care of all my other ones. The last thing I want to show everybody, for those who are in the broker portal, is the way to start a new loan. You click on Start New here, and this is something really cool that those may not know. You can start your own loan. You can literally come in here, fill out all of the information right here once it's all completed. You can choose a loan officer. You can either do NA and it will automatically assign, or you can choose somebody, either Bill Coder, Kira Clausen, or Robert if you have a preferred one. You click on Create Loan, and that's literally it. And then us here in Cogo Capital will see that loan pop up on our pipeline, on our desk. We're going to reach out to you right away, get some more information, and we're going to get the process rolling.
And so I love that, because on the weekend, if you get somebody that commits ready to go, because you've got the loan sizer right there and they said, let's do it, you can start the loan Monday morning. Your loan officer is going to have it ready to go and get everything started.
Yeah.
Now, that's my preference. I love that for the weekend, but any other time during the week, I'll be honest with you, loan officers can fill this out a whole lot faster than you can. So if you got one that says, let's go, and you're in the middle of the week, call them, say, I got a loan ready to go. They'll run through all this with you that fast. You've got it started. Our whole process is to try to speed things up, right? Sometimes, as much as we want to be able to do things, sometimes leveraging other people's talents and efforts and time makes it go faster. So if you're not the type of, if you're you're going like this with your computer, give them a call. But if you can type as fast as what Bruce Almighty does in his movie, right? Maybe do it yourself.
Absolutely. No, you bring up a great point. Use the broker sizer and the broker portal as great tools to work with each other. You can size the loan, If they're ready for it and it's a Saturday at 12 p.m. and you're like, hey, I'd love to get this process started now, so come Monday morning, we're moving, you can go in here, create your own loan, use the information from the sizer, and you can get it going, and we'll call you Monday morning. Well, Brandon, I really thank you for bringing me on. Those are all the updates I have for Cogo Capital for 2026. We have a lot of great things in store for all of our brokers, and we're only going to continue to add more and more tools and more capabilities to their back pockets.
Well, just like at the end of a game, most of the athletes are probably pretty tired. I'm guessing everybody at home, their brains are hurting from all the amount of knowledge that you just gave them. Now, we do have a couple times open. Charlie, did we get any questions throughout everything that we can quickly answer for everyone?
We did indeed. Larry is asking about funding for multifamily units, 5 units or more.
Absolutely. That's a big focus of Cogo Capital this year. We're expanding beyond just RTL, residential transition loans, which are your fix and flips and your refinances. Short-term loans we've always done in the past. We're expanding the DSCR program and we're expanding the commercial program. So definitely send it on over to us. It's something we can work with and we will get it closed for you.
I heard Lee Arnold say is if we don't have a product for it and you bring it to us, we will make one.
We'll find it. We'll make it happen.
And then Tolis would like to know, how about commercial clients?
Oh, absolutely. Yep, same thing. 5+ units, mixed use, even 50-unit apartment buildings. We're working on one right now for a 42-unit apartment building. Say commercial is all brought on.
Scott would like some clarification on the LTV for premium students. What is it right now? Was there a drop or a change to that? Please clarify.
So Scott, there's been no change for premium students at all. It's still 70% of loan to value of the as-is or the ARV with 100% financing.
Mark is asking about DSCR. Presently, DSCR doesn't have a FICO score. Does these changes impact DSR moving forward?
That's a great question. So DSCR is a little bit different of a program. We're really trying to push our DSCR program because we see a lot of DSCR opportunity in this market coming up in this year and next. So you're correct. We have no credit score minimum for DSCR. 650, all that. Everything I talked about today only applies to RTL or fix and flip refinances, basically all of the 12-month short-term loans. Anything DSCR, we're able to do no credit score minimum, no DSCR minimum. I do want to let everybody know that there is a 50% loan to value cap if they have less than 650 credit for a DSCR, but it doesn't mean we can't do it.
And here's one of the great things, and this has been a new announcement as of last week. Lee believes that the DSCR side of things is going to be where the focus might be for the next year to two. And so we are actually building out a whole entire DSCR team full of loan officers, processors, just for that specific thing. So as you get them, don't worry, we're going to have plenty of loan officers to be able to help you with those, people to answer questions, and maybe, just maybe, there might be a sizer for those down the road that you can get access to as well.
Absolutely.
Charlize would like to know about...
Hi, Charlize.
What are the FICO experience qualifications for a 75% ARV?
So for 75%, that's any non-student. You're still going to get 75% as long as, or up to 75%, again, depending on that 90% loan to cost. It's whatever hits first, 75% or 90% loan to cost, just anything above 650.
And then Scott is asking about lending in Detroit. Is this something that we're able to do?
Yes. So Scott, if you recall when I was going over the term sheet, how we had our exception counties here that caps it at 50% loan to value. Detroit is one of our exception counties in Wayne County, Michigan, but we can lend there. Doesn't mean we can't.
Brandon has a question about education. Just what would be a good class to recommend?
That's a great question, Brandon. I would recommend you get with the Lee Arnold system. They could help you out. Like I said, if you're looking for those credit score minimums not to apply, you're looking for a certification class or above, go ahead and give a call to a business development consultant at the Lee Arnold system, and they will steer you in the right direction.
I was sitting there, I was like, I asked a question, Charlie?
Over there typing away.
Harold wants to know, is there a way to size cross-collateralized loans?
Cross-collateralized, currently not. We do not have that built into the sizer. However, we're making a lot of great additions every single week. We're always going to be adding new features, new products and additions to it. So for anything cross-collateralized, you will want to speak to a loan officer when it comes to sizing and creating that.
And here's a big thing that I will throw onto this, is with the new direction and our willingness to take advice or take questions or things like that, if you're like, hey, this would be really helpful for me, shoot myself or Justin a question or an email and say, hey, have you ever thought about doing this? Can we do that? Because I previously hadn't considered the cross-collateralization into these. So that's something that we'll probably need to talk about.
Oh, most
after
definitely.
this.
Most definitely. Yeah, and like I said, coming in 2026, we just launched these sizers literally last week for the beginning of the year. We're going to have so many improvements and so many additions and so many more changes coming up to them to just make it a great one-stop shop tool for everything.
Awesome. We got time for probably 2 more questions there, Mr. Charlie.
All right. Charlize wants to know, as a premium student, if we partner with another borrower, do they have to have a 650 credit score?
No. So as a JV, if you JV on the loan, you're basically bringing your premium benefits to that borrower. So they don't have to have the 650 credit score. They're going to get 70% LTV cap and then 100% financing.
And John had a question about some of our courses. Does the Ultimate Broker or a cash flow program, is that considered premium or just student?
Currently, that would just be considered student.
And Harold has a question about DSCR. Do we have a sizer for DSCR?
We have a DSCR sizer. It's in beta testing, and it's been made available to a specific set of clientele, but we are going to be having one come out here very soon, yes.
Right.
And how about one for new construction as well?
New construction is in the works. Like I said, right now we've started with the purchase and rehab, the refinance, and we have the DSCR one being beta tested, and we have a new construction one coming down the pipe as well as commercial. Our goal is to put all the tools in your guys' back pockets that you need to succeed without having to wait for a loan officer. And again, I've said it so many times in this, but speed is key in this industry.
Lucas has an interesting question. He's been purchasing homes at auction to flip. And when it is a bank auction, he's had to go through a whole closing process. That process cannot start without providing a proof of funds letter. But once he wins the auction, is there a way that he could have Cogo fund the purchase? And he is a premium student borrower.
Typically, auctions are a little bit difficult because usually full payment is required within 30 minutes to an hour after the auction completing. And of course, we cannot get a loan into the process and get it closed within an hour or 30 minutes. It all depends on the auction. If they're able to give you some leeway, give you that 20 to 30 days to get the funds to be able to close on the property at auction, then yes, we could fund on that. And if you are in need of a proof of funds letter, you may go to cogocapital.com, go under the resources tab, and then you can purchase a proof of funds letter right from there, basically saying, hey, this is how much I need for the property. You can provide that directly to the seller, to the bank, to the auction house or auction company. And you can basically say, hey, this is what they're able to give me, but I do want to let everybody know, I just want to clarify that it is based on underwriting approval. We want to make sure everything is in line. So it's not a guaranteed proof of funds, but it is saying, hey, Cogo will be able to fund you based on qualifications.
Great. And just to finish up, just a note for all our attendees today, we will have a replay of this available tomorrow. We'll send an email out getting that link to you, and you'll be able to review this tomorrow.
All right. Well, that's the final whistle. Don't you love that? Well, the rule book has changed. Now you've got to go get to implement those new plays. So run them tight, submit smart, and win more deals. I appreciate you, everyone. I'll see you on our next session.